Let's make a good old Southern staple. We're going to make a pound cake today, but we're going to make a cream cheese pound cake. Jump on in and do it with me. Hi, I'm Mary Catherine, and welcome to my table. Today's recipe is something that's so simple. You probably have most of these ingredients in your kitchen now, but it's so delicious, and you can pair it with anything you want. Some of those summer fruits that are in season, fall fruits, whatever season you're in, you can always use a pound cake. So that's what we're going to do. Let's make cream cheese pound cake. We're going to start out by creaming our butter and our cream cheese together. And this recipe uses 3 whole sticks of butter. That's 1.5 cups of butter. So there we've got 3 sticks of butter. And then we want 1 block of cream cheese. That's going to be 8 ounces of cream cheese.
Right.
All right, and I'm going to use my big mixer for this and just let it do the work for me. You can use a hand mixer if that's what you have. That'll work fine, too. And let's just let this cream those butters and cream cheese all together. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to do a quick scrape down of my sides just to make sure before we start adding the other ingredients that we've got this creamed the way that we want it. That looks pretty good. So now I'm going to add 3 cups of sugar at this point. And then we're going to let that cream together for a few minutes. And you really do want to let this cream for 4 to 5 minutes. You want it just to be that good, fluffy consistency before you add your flour and your eggs. You'll add the eggs first, but before you add those eggs and then flour at the end, you just want to make sure this is the right consistency. So be sure to give it long enough, 4 to 5 minutes. While we're letting that finish creaming, I'm going to go ahead and get my flour ready. I'm going to sift the flour, and we want 3 cups. So I have my little sifter here, and I've got a mark that comes to 3 cups in here. So I'm just going to, you don't have to worry about measuring if you have something in your sifter to measure with. So I'm just going to pour in here until it reaches that point. Okay, that's at my 3 cup line. So now I'm going to go ahead and sift my flour into a bowl. Let's get that last little bit out. Okay. Now I'm going to put my little stopper back on the bottom. And I'm going to measure out 3 cups of the sifted flour and bring it back up to that line again in here. So I'm not having to be real careful with my cup measure. Let's see where we are. Almost. Just a touch more. Okay, that gets me to that line. So you see I had just a little bit of extra flour that I'm not going to use. So I'm just going to dump it back in here. And then we're really just going to use a pinch of salt. Not much at all. I'm just going to put a little bit in my hand like that. And I'm going to dump it in there. And then we're going to sift it together with that flour. And it will be ready when the time comes to add to our pound cake. This is plain all-purpose flour. This is not self-rising. So you don't really have any rising agents in this pound cake. Any fluffiness you get is just going to be from whipping that butter and cream cheese and then adding the sugar and whipping it good enough. And look what the consistency is now. That's what you're looking for. So I'm going to turn this off, and we're ready to add the eggs. And we're going to add them one at a time and let it beat just long enough to incorporate each egg before we add the next one. All right.
So,
And we're going to use 6 eggs total. So when I've gotten about halfway through and added 3 of my eggs, I'm going to also add vanilla, and I'll scrape down the sides of my bowl just to be sure it's all mixing well together. All right, let's do the third one. And I will go ahead and add vanilla with this one. You can add a different flavor if you like. If you want to make a lemon pound cake or almond. I'm going to add a pretty good couple of splashes, probably about 2 teaspoons at least of vanilla. Okay, let's let that go. All right, now I'm going to scrape down my bowl just to be sure we're getting everything mixed together well. That's looking good. Let's go ahead and add our other 3 eggs one at a time. Egg number 5. And egg number 6. Our final egg. Okay. Okay, I'm going to scrape down one more time before we go in with the flour, which is our final ingredient, that flour and salt mixture. Okay. Mix just a little bit more. You want to do all of your mixing that you can before you add the flour. That's why we cream so well with just the butter and the cream cheese. And that's why we beat so well after the sugar and then after each egg. Because once we come in with the flour, we do not want to overbeat it, because that's when you can make your cake tough if you do too much beating with the dry ingredients. So we're going to go in with the flour now, and I'm just going to add it a little at a time, maybe about a cup at a time, and start slow. And turn it up a little once it gets that almost incorporated. Okay, let's go in with another bit of our flour. Okay, turn it up just a bit. Let that mix in. That looks good. All right, let's see if we can go in with the rest of the flour. at this point. And that looks like it's all whipped together well. I tell you what, though, I don't know about this one little bit at the top of that beater. Let's get it down into the mixture and make sure it got mixed in well. We don't want a big clump of a more dense mixture. All right, that should be good. And like I said, we don't want to overmix it. And you can bake this in a tube pan, which I often do for pound cakes. But you can also bake this in a bundt pan. And I'm going to use a bundt pan today. And I've already got my pan ready. I have sprayed it with the baking spray. Not just the cooking spray. The baking spray also has the flour in it. And so that's what I've used. If you don't have that, you can grease it with shortening and flour yourself. And I often do that. But I had a little bit of baking spray left, and that's what I used today. And it's quite heavy. The bowl's quite heavy, so you can tell how dense this pound cake batter is with that cream cheese in it, but it's going to be delicious. I think that's going to make it really nice and moist. All right, let's just make sure it's all spread around our pan. Good old Southern pound cake. Now this is going to go in our oven at 300 degrees. And we're going to bake it for about 1 hour and 45 minutes. I have a convection oven, so I'm just going to put it in this way. If you don't have a convection oven, you may want to put just a little pan of water in the oven beside your cake, and that helps it bake a little bit more evenly as well. So I'm going to put mine in now. I'm going to check it at 1 hour and 30 minutes just to be sure that we're not over baking it. All right, come back and check it with me then. Y'all, I think it turned out delicious. Look at it. I did cook it for about an extra 10 minutes after I set it for an hour and a half. So it went for about 1 hour and 40 minutes. Those final 10 minutes, though, I put a piece of foil over the top just so that it wouldn't get too brown. But it looks like it's perfect. Now I've let it cool for about 15 minutes. You always need to let it cool a little bit before you can turn it out of your pan. So here's the moment of truth, other than the taste test. That's the real moment of truth. But let's see if it turns out good, okay? I've got my cooling rack here. And I'm just going to set it on top. We're going to hope that it just comes right out. Oh, voila, yay. Doesn't that look pretty? Gorgeous, and hopefully it's going to taste good. We'll let it cool a little bit longer before we slice it and taste it, but that is your cream cheese pound cake. Now it's time for the real moment of truth. Let's do the taste test. Okay, did you see that while I was cutting it? You get a little bit of crustiness, especially on that edge that was exposed in the cake pan. So you get a little bit of crustiness and then hopefully a lot of good moisture inside. Let's see. You can taste that hint of cream cheese. It just gives it a little different flavor than your regular traditional pound cake. And it does give a little extra moisture. And I think this is one of those cakes where it's still a little bit warm, but as it cools, it's just going to get better and better. And set up that moisture that's locked into that cake. Really good. I don't know if the microphone's picking it up, but you can hear that little bit of crispiness when I'm chewing. Well, that's a wrap for this cream cheese pound cake. I'm so glad you were with me today here at Mary Catherine's Table. And remember to hit subscribe if you want to get notifications when we put out new videos. Share our videos with your friends. We'd love to have them along too. And remember to go out today and find someone who needs a little bit of kindness and give them some of yours.